name is Dan Visone. I'm the Director of the Systems and Acquisition Support Directorate at the U.S. Army Geospatial Center. And my job is to help implement GIS technology across all Army programs. So with the degree in geography and understanding GIS, I actually understand the importance of using that as a fundamental foundation to enable all Army programs, because everything has a spatial and temporal aspect. So some of the examples of successes we have with GIS is, I think, getting programs to understand, so Army programs to understand the value of GIS. One of the terms I usually use when I go out and brief is that a lot of the Army programs are considered stovepipes, or we call them cylinders of excellence, because they've never looked at geospatial or GIS technology holistically to understand, again, that it's not just maps, but it's a framework or foundation everybody should work off of. And our goal in the Army is we want everybody to work off the same standard shareable geospatial foundation. What a novel concept. Everybody fighting off, or everybody working off the same maps for a common operational picture. And I think over the last few years, my job has been to show all these Army program managers the value of geospatial. And one great example within the last 2 years is we ran a pilot to show or demonstrate that if you had content managed geospatial data, the maps, and the imagery and the elevation data and the feature data managed by the experts, the terrain teams, and you published them to open standards, all other Army programs could consume that data. And what we demonstrated is not having to have every program pay a contractor to load their maps, which would typically be outdated, and the maps would be updated every 12 to 15 months. Now you have one place doing the content management of the data, publishing to open standards, and all those other Army programs could pull that data right when the data was updated. That alone, just that pilot showing the value of geospatial, has really allowed us to advance what we're calling the Army Geospatial Enterprise across our Army programs. I think our best practices and what we've learned is that there's a few pieces you need, or a few components to successfully implement a geospatial enterprise. One is you have to have governance. Somebody has to have a stick to make sure people do what you say. If you don't have governance and it's a coalition of the willing, you're only going to get so far. Second is you need to build to open standards, data models, so that anything you plug in doesn't become a proprietary stovepipe. And then the third piece, which is what my directorate has helped the Army do over the last few years, is get people, domain experts that know the technology, to help you optimize the implementation of the technology. You can give people open standards and people will implement them differently, and you still don't have interoperability. And if the goal in the Army is to share geospatial data for a standard shareable geospatial foundation across Army programs, and you don't have interoperability, you failed. And if you can get an organization or group to help ensure that the right standards are being used, the right technology is being used, and it's being implemented the correct way, you're going to achieve the interoperability.